So today is the New Hampshire primary, and hopefully there's no Iowa-ness happening. Hopefully there's no disputing of results. Hopefully by the end of the evening we get a very clear winner. But even if we don't, we already have a clear frontrunner in the Democratic Party, because according to the latest polls released yesterday, Bernie Sanders has now officially overtaken Joe Biden, who continues to fall. And ladies and gentlemen, Bernie Sanders is now the frontrunner of the 2020 presidential election on the Democratic side. But you know what? It's really not just on the Democratic side. As it stands right now, Bernie Sanders is the frontrunner for the 2020 presidential election. Because not only has he left the rest of the Democratic pack in the dust at this point, according to this latest poll, and again, okay, it's one poll, sure, one poll, but it's showing what all the other polls are starting to show as well. But here's the thing, and this is why I say not just the Democratic frontrunner, but the frontrunner overall, is the fact that he's beating Donald Trump by 17 points among independent voters here in the United States. That's right, the candidate who the media repeatedly tells us isn't going to be able to unite the country against Trump is somehow uniting the country against Donald Trump. All of the attacks on Bernie have backfired. You know, Chris Matthews coming out the other day saying he's going to have us in Central Park executing us. Chris Matthews actually said that. And Bernie surges. Hillary Clinton has come out once every week for the past 3 weeks to try to trash Bernie, throw some shade at him, and every time she does, he gets more popular. I guess that's what happens when the least popular politician in the country starts attacking you. People say, wow, if the worst person hates him, he must be doing something right. And apparently that's what's happening now. Joe Biden is falling, Bernie Sanders is surging, and he is officially the front runner, and the rest of the candidates somewhere behind all those two. Here's where it stands right now. Bernie Sanders, 25% among Democratic voters. Not a lot, obviously, but considering the amount of people this support is spread amongst, 25% takes it. That is a 4% increase over the last survey, which was taken before the Iowa caucus. Joe Biden is at 17%. He fell 9 points since the last poll. Bloomberg is up 7 points to 15. Of course, this happened before that video showed that he's a real piece of crap, so we'll see what happens in the next poll for Bloomberg. Elizabeth Warren dropped 1 point down to 14%. Buttigieg is now 5th place with 10%. Klobuchar is at 4%. She dropped 3 points, and nobody else even hit 2%. These are national polls. This is not a state poll. This is not what's going to happen in the next primary or caucus. This is nationally. And those are the ones we probably should take a little bit serious, right? Because this election isn't just going to happen in one single state and then a week later another state and then another. No, it happens all on the same day. We don't really get to see what everybody else did till the end of the evening when the polls have already closed. This poll matters. And this poll shows us that all the attacks on Bernie, all the smears, all the lies about him not being able to unite this country, it's lies. Bernie Sanders is surging because he's out there talking about issues that Americans actually care about. He is proposing solutions that Americans actually agree with. They're not sitting out there whining that, oh, Bernie bro was mean to me online, so I'm not voting. I'll do 4 more years of Trump because somebody yelled at me on Twitter. If that's your argument for voting against Bernie Sanders, then I suggest you just delete your Twitter account because you're not mature enough to handle being online anymore. Bernie Sanders could win this thing. And as it stands right now, according to the polls, Bernie Sanders is going to win this thing. Thanks for watching, everyone. And well, here comes the awkward part at the end of the video where I ask you to like, comment, and share, and subscribe for more content from Ring of Fire. Also, you should consider becoming a member for some exclusive content and perks, including early access videos and exclusive videos. Check out the link in the description.